changing your life one story at a time. This is the Chicken Soup for the Soul podcast with Editor-in-Chief Amy Newmark.
Hey, it's Amy Newmark with your daily dose of Chicken Soup for the Soul inspiration to make you simply happy. It's Thoughtful Thursday, and today we're going to talk about family and how family is what you decide it is, how you define the people in your life. Both of these stories involve acts of kindness that turned into so much more, into lifelong relationships that redefine the meaning of family. In the first story, Annette Langer tells us that she was a longtime volunteer for her local police department in Pleasanton, California. She made friends with many of the police officers, including a guy named Ryan, who worked at one of the schools in town. One night, Ryan mentioned to her that the house he was renting had become infected with black mold. It had been caused by a roof leak, and his landlord was refusing to fix it. So Ryan was going to have to break the lease and move out. His wife and 3 children were going to Idaho to live with his in-laws while he searched for a new place. Ryan was staying with one of the other officers for a few weeks, but he felt bad because they gave him their child's room, and he didn't want to kick a kid out of his room. So when Annette heard about that, she said, "Why don't you just move into my place? I have a guest room with its own bathroom." And she told him he could stay as long as he wanted, and it was free. Ryan said that he would do chores around the house to help out because he didn't want to accept her hospitality for months for free. So they agreed, and he moved in. He ended up staying for almost 6 months, and it was great. He was a quiet, helpful housemate, and he became a good friend. He and Annette would watch TV together, and she got friendly with his wife via Facebook. She would drive him to and from the airport when he went to visit his wife and kids in Idaho. And when Ryan was named Officer of the Year by the police department, Annette was his guest at the gala dinner. On Mother's Day, Ryan gave her a card and took her out for dinner. Because that was what Annette had become. An honorary mother to Ryan, an honorary mother-in-law to his wife, and ultimately, when the family returned, an honorary grandmother to his 3 children. Now Annette is the kids' 3rd grandmother. They call her Grandette, which is a combination of grandma and Annette. She goes to all their family functions, and Ryan even stays over sometimes if he has an early court date and he doesn't want to have to drive in from his new faraway house. Annette says, "Who knew that such a simple act as offering someone a place to stay would repay me so richly with a brand new family?" We had a lot of stories like this in our book, Chicken Soup for the Soul, Random Acts of Kindness. Heather Roden gave us a great one, too, about this strange old man who pounded on her front door one day. Heather's family was new to the neighborhood, so she didn't know who this old man was. He was dressed in dirty clothing, he was wearing muddy boots, and he was clutching a little plastic bag of vegetables, which he asked her if she would like to buy. He said that he grew vegetables, and he also had apples that he could bring to her from his tree. And Heather just melted. Whether she needed vegetables or not, she was going to help this old man. She went to get her purse, and she bought the bag from him, which turned out to contain mostly dirt with a few carrots. The next day, the old man showed up again, this time with some bruised apples from his tree. He said that he thought she might like to make a pie, and he looked so sad and wistful as he said it. Heather invited him in, and she got to know the old man. It turned out he lived around the corner, and his wife had passed away a few years before. And he was just lonely, and selling vegetables was his way to meet people. Heather and her family started having tea and cookies with the old man. She would also make him apple pies, and he would come by all the time, and the kids loved having him visit. He became another grandfather to them. Eventually, he moved away, but they continued sending him mail until he died about a year later. Heather concluded her story by saying, "We're so grateful for the unexpected love that swept into our lives the moment we opened that door." And that's the point, and what we saw over and over again in our book about random acts of kindness. People reaching out and creating new family units in unexpected but very fulfilling ways. When it comes to family and honorary family, there's a lot of happiness out there waiting to become part of our lives. Tomorrow we're going to talk about family too, but we're going to be getting down to the nitty-gritty of family caregiving. It's something I'm in up to my ears right now as a result of caring for my elderly father after my mother's passing 2 months ago. And tomorrow happens to be Caregiver Appreciation Day. So we're going to talk to Leanne Tiemann, the author of Chicken Soup for the Caregiver Soul, and a well-known national speaker on this subject.